Lana with Century 21 Americana. Welcome, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you. I am with the title company Magnus Title, and my name's Amanda Smith.
I actually wanted to bring you in because I have a lot of international sellers, and they are wondering what this FIRPTA thing is. And it's very confusing, and people don't really sometimes even know that it even exists, right? So I thought it would be a great time for you to come in and just kind of help shed some light.
Yeah, any information is helpful, especially when you go into contract and then all of a sudden they're learning that, oh, part of my money is going to be withheld.
Yeah.
What? Wasn't expecting that. So good to get the information out there. So yeah, any person that is foreign coming to the U.S. to sell a home, that maybe whenever time they bought it, there's no time limits on that. There's no godfathering it in. Anytime they're going to sell a U.S. property and they are foreign, they will fall under FIRPTA. So
And what does FIRPTA stand for?
foreign, and I know it's like I got to get it in foreign investment property, real property tax.
Okay.
So, and the purpose that behind it essentially is that when a foreign seller comes and sells a property, right, and then they leave the country, the U.S. doesn't get the money that they think that they're owed. So, the withhold is so essentially that makes the foreign seller file something to try to get some of that back.
Correct.
Right? Because, I mean, we're subject to that. And so they were like, well, wait, why are they getting away with not being able to pay the taxes that we have to pay, right? So that's the purpose of the FIRPTA rule, law, however you want to say it. So there are different withholds, though, and they did change a little bit last year. So it does vary if a buyer is going to stay in the property versus not stay in the property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that, actually.
Yeah, so
okay.
from 0 to 300,000, the price point of the property, it doesn't matter how much they make. The withhold can be 0 if the buyer stays in the property, right?
I did know that, yes.
But
Sorry.
if it's 0 to 300,000 and the buyer's not staying in the property, it's an automatic 15% now. From 300, it used to be a little bit more if the buyer was staying in the property, higher, but it's 300,000 to $1 million. We still have to hold 10% now if a buyer is staying in the property, unfortunately. Yeah. And then if it's $1 million and above, it doesn't matter if a buyer is staying in the property or not. It's a 15% across the board. Yeah.
Okay. So it's 15 over $1 million, and pretty much under $1 million, it's 10%.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 or 15%.
Yes,
15% if the seller, if there's no buyer staying in the property. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I know, right? And then they can capture some of that back based on what they file. So it kind of forces them to say, hey, they're holding all this money, but I don't feel like I owed all that money. It forces the foreign seller to then
do their taxes.
To do their taxes, to file all the documents that they need to, and then they can calculate on the back end how much money they actually made and how much money they can get back.
Okay. So how long typically do they have to wait until the end of that tax year to do that, or can they file earlier than that? Do you know?
No, regular tax.
Just regular tax
regular
season?
tax season, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Because they have to wait for the forms to come in, which don't happen until we do that at the end of the year. We get the forms ready, send it to them.
So there's no way of doing it any earlier. It's really pretty much at the end of the year there when they do your normal tax return.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now, is there anything else they should know? Whether so if it's an investment property and they're selling it to an investor, then it would be considered a non
15%.
Yes,
Yep.
it'd be 15%.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I've done that with some other sellers where they will just sell to a primary, so then they don't have, if it's under 300, then they don't have to pay, or you don't have to withhold, I should say, those funds. But if it's over 300 that they net, right? Or is it?
No,
it's the total, right?
It's the total of the sales price until they file, and then they'll determine if it was at a loss, then they may get all of it back. But our rule is no matter what.
You have to hold it.
No matter what they're making.
Right.
That's our 15% or 10% based on the situation.
That's what you're required to do.
We have to withhold. Yeah.
Correct.
Based on the law.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's really great information. I mean, hopefully, everyone is kind of learning more about that and more knowledgeable. So when they do go to sell, it's not a surprise.
Yeah, well, and especially since some of it changed last year, right? And it's not like they put out bulletins to potential buyers and sellers. And honestly, who's going to really, if they see that and it's not a situation that applies to them, they don't really know to look at it and to take that in, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, hopefully, it comes across and they can go, oh, okay, that I am a foreign seller. I need to know that for the future. So,
So all you international people out there, just know FIRPTA is a big thing. You need to know, and you need to be educated because you need to know what your bottom line is and how to go about filing your taxes.
yep.
Thank you, Amanda.
You're so welcome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.